I woke up at 2:47 a.m. to my husband whispering another woman's name. Not calling out from a nightmare. Not mumbling incoherently. Whispering it softly, tenderly, the way he used to whisper mine. Rebecca. That single word, spoken in the darkness of our bedroom, in the bed we'd shared for 5 years, shattered everything I thought I knew about my life. And the worst part, I'd been lying awake for the past hour, my hand on his chest, feeling completely blissfully in love with him. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand how that moment destroyed me, how it set off a chain reaction that would uncover months of lies and betrayal, I need to take you back. Back to when I thought Michael and I were solid. Back to when I believed in us. Back to before I knew Rebecca's name. 7 years ago, I met Michael at a friend's barbecue on a warm Saturday afternoon in June. I almost didn't go. I'd been working overtime on a big project at the design firm where I worked, and honestly, I just wanted to stay home with a glass of wine and my Netflix queue. But my best friend Emma had been insistent. "Sarah, you need to get out," she'd said on the phone that morning. "You're 25 years old and you're living like you're 75. Come to the barbecue. There'll be cute guys there." I'd laughed her off, but something made me go. Maybe it was fate. Maybe it was just the universe having a sick sense of humor. Michael was standing by the grill, telling some story that had everyone around him laughing. He had this energy, magnetic, warm, inclusive. When he smiled, it reached his eyes. He was wearing a faded blue t-shirt and jeans, nothing special, but there was something about the way he carried himself. Confident without being arrogant. Present without being overbearing. Our eyes met across the yard and I felt it. That spark everyone talks about but I'd always thought was bullshit from romantic comedies. He walked over with 2 beers, handed me one and said, "I'm Michael. And before you ask, yes, I'm single, yes, I have a job, and no, I don't live in my parents' basement." I couldn't help but laugh. "That's quite the introduction. I believe in efficiency," he said with that smile. "Now tell me, are you the Sarah that Emma won't stop talking about? The artist who designed that campaign for the Children's Hospital?" I was surprised he knew about my work. Impressed, actually. We talked for 3 hours straight. About design and art, about his job in sales, about our families and childhoods and dreams. He told me about growing up in Chicago with 2 younger sisters he was fiercely protective of. I told him about my parents' divorce when I was 12 and how it made me believe that love could be real if you found the right person. "I believe in that too," he'd said, looking at me with those warm brown eyes. "My parents have been married for 38 years. Still hold hands when they walk. That's what I want someday." By the time the sun was setting, I knew something had shifted in my life. This man, this stranger from a few hours ago, felt important. Felt right. We dated for 2 years before he proposed. It was perfect. He took me back to that same backyard where we'd met, decorated with string lights and flowers, with all our friends and family hiding around the corner to celebrate. He got down on one knee and said, "Sarah, from the moment I saw you, I knew my life was about to change. You make me want to be better. You make me believe in forever. Will you marry me?" I said yes before he even finished the question. Our wedding was small, intimate, exactly what we both wanted. We honeymooned in Italy, spent 2 weeks eating incredible food and making love and planning our future. We talked about buying a house, having kids someday, growing old together. We dreamed out loud, and every dream included each other. The first 3 years of our marriage were good. Really good. We bought a house in the suburbs, a small craftsman with a blue door that I fell in love with the moment I saw it. Michael surprised me by painting the door without telling me, just to see my face when I came home from work. That was the kind of thing he did. Thoughtful gestures. Remembered details. He'd leave notes in my lunch bag, random "I love you" texts in the middle of the day. Flowers on Tuesday just because. We hosted dinner parties with friends. Took weekend trips to wineries. Adopted a rescue dog, a golden retriever mix we named Cooper, who Michael adored. He'd take Cooper running every morning before work, come back sweaty and happy, kiss me in the kitchen while I made coffee. Our sex life was amazing. Not just frequent but connected. He'd look into my eyes, whisper how much he loved me, how beautiful I was, how lucky he felt. Afterwards, we'd lie tangled together, talking until one of us fell asleep mid-sentence. I trusted him completely. He'd never given me a reason not to. He talked about his female co-workers the same way he talked about his male ones. Casually, professionally. He'd mention going to happy hours with the team, never weird about it, never secretive. His phone was usually face up on the counter. He knew my passcode, I knew his, though neither of us ever felt the need to check. We were solid. Or so I thought. Looking back now, with the clarity that only comes from having your world destroyed, I can see the exact moment things started to change. It was subtle at first. So subtle I didn't even register it as a change. It started about 14 months before that horrible night. Michael got promoted to regional sales manager. It was a big deal, more money, more responsibility, more travel. We celebrated with champagne and takeout from our favorite Italian place, making love on the living room floor because we couldn't wait to get upstairs. "This is going to be amazing," he'd said, pulling me close. "We can finally start that renovation on the kitchen. Maybe even start trying for a baby soon." I remember feeling so happy, so secure in our future. He was advancing in his career. We were building our life. Everything was falling into place. The first red flag was so innocuous I didn't even register it as one. Michael started working late. Not every night but a few times a week. "New position, new responsibilities," he'd explain, texting me that he'd grab dinner at the office. Made sense. He was proving himself, working hard. I was proud of him. But then the pattern shifted. The late nights became more frequent. And they were always on the same days, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Every single week like clockwork. Why always Tuesday and Thursday? I asked one evening when he texted at 6 p.m. to say he wouldn't make it home for dinner. "Team meetings," he'd replied. "New protocol from corporate. You know how it is." I didn't know how it was. Or I thought I did. I was working on my own projects, sometimes losing track of time at my home office. I understood professional demands. I didn't want to be that wife, the one who questioned and nagged. So I swallowed my slight disappointment and ordered takeout for one. The second red flag appeared about a month later. Michael bought new cologne. This might not sound significant, but you have to understand. My husband was a creature of habit. He'd worn the same cologne since college, a woody, masculine scent that I associated completely with him. It was his smell, his signature. Then one morning I leaned in to kiss him goodbye and caught a whiff of something different. Sharp, expensive, not him at all. "New cologne?" I asked, trying to keep my tone light and curious rather than accusatory. He paused for just a fraction of a second. "Oh yeah. The old one was discontinued. This was on sale." Seemed reasonable. Except the cologne he was wearing definitely wasn't on sale. I'd seen the same brand in department stores. It was $150 a bottle. And Michael, for all his wonderful qualities, was not a man who spent $150 on cologne without mentioning it. But I pushed the thought away. Maybe he wanted to upgrade. Maybe the promotion made him feel like he could splurge a little. The third red flag was his phone. Michael had always been relaxed about his phone. It would sit on the coffee table during dinner, screen up, volume on. If it rang while he was in the shower, he'd ask me to check if it was important. Total transparency, total trust. That started to change. I first noticed it on a Wednesday evening. We were watching TV, his arm around me, Cooper sprawled across our feet. His phone buzzed. He picked it up, glanced at the screen, and I saw his expression flicker, just for a moment. Then he stood up. "I need to take this," he said. "Who is it?" I asked, not suspiciously, just conversationally. "Work stuff. Boring." He was already walking into his office, closing the door. He was in there for 20 minutes. When he came out, I asked if everything was okay. "Yeah, fine. Just some issue with a client account. All sorted." But his energy had shifted. He seemed distracted, kept glancing at his phone throughout the rest of the evening. After that, the phone was always face down, always on silent. He'd take it with him everywhere. To the bathroom, to the garage when he took out the trash, to the backyard when he let Cooper out. "Since when do you need your phone to let the dog out?" I joked one evening. He laughed, but it sounded forced. "Just expecting a call from the West Coast team. Time zone differences, you know." Fourth red flag. He started dressing better. Michael had always been well-groomed, but casual, comfortable. He wore his work clothes because he had to, but the minute he got home, he'd change into sweatpants and a t-shirt. But suddenly, he was wearing his nicer suits more often. Getting his hair cut every 2 weeks instead of every 6. He bought new dress shirts, expensive ones, and spent more time in front of the mirror in the morning. "You look nice," I said one morning, admiring him in a charcoal suit I hadn't seen before. "Thanks," he said, but he wouldn't meet my eyes in the mirror. "Got a big presentation today." Except I'd glanced at his calendar the night before when I was planning our weekend, and there was nothing about a presentation. Fifth red flag. The intimacy started to fade. This one hurt the most because it was so gradual I didn't realize it was happening until it had already happened. We went from making love 3 or 4 times a week to once a week. Then once every 2 weeks. It wasn't that he couldn't. When we did have sex, everything worked fine. But the initiation stopped. The spontaneous kisses, the middle-of-the-day text saying he couldn't wait to get me home. "Is everything okay?" I asked one night after he'd kissed me goodnight and rolled over to sleep without any hint of more. "I'm just tired, babe. Work is exhausting right now." And again it was plausible. He was working late. He had more responsibility. Stress kills libido. I'd read the articles. I tried to be understanding. But then I'd remember how, even during his most stressful periods before, he'd still wanted me. We'd still connected physically. And now, lying next to him in bed, I felt like there was an ocean between us. Sixth red flag. He became defensive about his coworkers. One evening, I was scrolling through Facebook and saw Michael had been tagged in photos from a work event. I clicked through them, smiling at seeing him in his element, laughing with his team, holding a beer, looking happy and successful. Then I stopped at one photo. Michael was standing with a woman I didn't recognize. She was pretty. Long dark hair, bright smile, dressed in that effortlessly professional way some women have. They weren't doing anything inappropriate. They were just standing next to each other. But something about the way they were positioned, the way they were both smiling, made my stomach twist. "Who's this?" I asked casually, holding up my phone to show Michael when he walked into the living room. He barely glanced at it. "Rebecca from accounting." "Why?" "Just curious. I don't think I've met her. She just transferred from the New York office a few months ago." His tone was clipped. Then he added, "She's very good at her job." There was something in the way he said it. A defensiveness that hadn't been there before. Like he was protecting her or preparing to. "I'm sure she is," I said, putting my phone down. The subject was closed, but the name stuck in my head. Rebecca. I didn't know why, but it bothered me. Seventh red flag. The Tuesday and Thursday pattern expanded. What started as late work nights turned into actual overnight trips. Michael's new position required travel to various regional offices. Again, this made perfect sense. Except the destinations seemed to rotate between the same 3 cities, and the trips were always 1 or 2 nights. Another overnight. I asked when he told me he'd be gone Tuesday night. "Yeah, sorry babe. Got to check in on the Seattle team." "Wasn't Seattle where you went 3 weeks ago?" "Was. They're having performance issues. Need hands-on management." I wanted to believe him. I chose to believe him. Because the alternative, that something was wrong, that my husband was lying to me, was too terrifying to contemplate. But I felt it. That creeping sense of unease that I kept trying to push down. Something was off. Something had changed. I just couldn't put my finger on what. The first real incident that I couldn't rationalize away happened on a Saturday morning in March. I was cleaning out Michael's car. He'd been traveling so much that it had gotten cluttered with coffee cups and old receipts. I wasn't snooping. I was genuinely just trying to help him out, maybe surprise him with a clean car. That's when I found it. A long dark hair on the passenger seat headrest. I held it up to the light, my heart starting to pound. It wasn't mine. My hair was blonde, shoulder length. This hair was almost black, at least a foot long. I stood there in our driveway, holding this strand of hair, and felt the first real crack in my denial. When Michael got back from his run with Cooper, I showed him. "Found this in your car." He barely looked at it. "Oh, probably from giving someone a ride at work." "Who?" "Sarah, I don't know. Could be any of the women on my team. We carpool sometimes to client meetings." It was plausible, reasonable. But that night, lying in bed, I found myself staring at the ceiling, replaying his reaction. He hadn't seemed curious or concerned. He'd seemed practiced, like he'd been ready for that question. The second incident happened 2 weeks later. We were supposed to have a date night, something I'd been trying to schedule for weeks. We'd made reservations at our favorite restaurant, the one where we'd had our first anniversary dinner. I got home from work early, put on a dress I knew he loved, did my makeup. I was excited. We needed this. We needed to reconnect. At 5:30, an hour before our reservation, Michael called. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. Something came up with a client. I have to work late." I felt something inside me crack a little more. "Michael, we've had these reservations for 3 weeks. I know, baby, I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you, I promise. This client is threatening to pull their account. I have to handle it. Can't someone else handle it? I'm the regional manager. It has to be me." I heard voices in the background. Laughter. It didn't sound like a crisis meeting. "Where are you right now?" "Yes." "Was." "At the office." "Why?" "It sounds loud. They're doing construction on the floor below us." "Look, I have to go. I'm really sorry about dinner. Order something nice, use my credit card. I'll be home by 10. He wasn't home by 10. He walked in at 11:43, and I know because I was sitting on the couch, still in my dress, watching the clock. "Hey babe," he said, setting down his briefcase. If he noticed I was still dressed up. He didn't mention it. "Sorry that took so long. You eat?" "No," I said quietly. I wasn't hungry. He finally looked at me. Really looked at me. And I saw something flash across his face. Guilt, maybe, or recognition that he'd hurt me. "Sarah, It's fine, I cut him off, standing up. I'm going to bed. I walked past him, and he didn't try to stop me. I lay in bed alone for an hour before he finally came upstairs. He got in bed, said, "I love you," and fell asleep within minutes. I didn't sleep at all that night. The third incident was when I tried to surprise him at work. It was a Thursday, one of his late nights. I'd had a client meeting get cancelled, and I found myself free at 4 p.m. with nothing to do. On impulse, I stopped at his favorite sandwich shop and decided to bring him dinner at the office. I texted him, "Bringing you dinner. Be there in 20". His response came back almost immediately. "No, don't." I stared at my phone. "No, don't. Not, thanks, but I'm about to head into a meeting." Or, "That's sweet, but I'm not at my desk." "Just no, don't." I texted back. "Why not? Big meeting. Can't be interrupted. I'll see you at home later." I sat in the parking lot of that sandwich shop, holding a bag with his favorite Italian sub, and felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just weird. This wasn't just stress from work. Something was wrong. Really, genuinely wrong. That night, when he got home at 9:30, I asked him about the meeting. "How'd it go?" "Fine," he said, heading straight for the shower. "Long day." "What was the meeting about?" He paused at the bottom of the stairs. "Just quarterly projections. Boring stuff. On a Thursday night." "Sarah, what is this?" His voice had an edge. "Why are you interrogating me?" "I'm not interrogating you. I'm asking about your day." "Well, it feels like an interrogation. I'm tired. I just want to shower and go to bed." He went upstairs and I heard the bathroom door lock. He'd never locked the bathroom door before. I picked up his phone from where he'd left it on the kitchen counter. My hands were shaking. This wasn't me. I didn't snoop through my husband's phone. We trusted each other. Except I didn't trust him anymore. Not really. His phone was locked, of course. I tried his passcode, the one I'd known for years, and it didn't work. He changed it. When had he changed it? Why hadn't he told me? I set the phone down like it had burned me. The fourth incident happened at Emma's birthday party. Michael hadn't wanted to go. "I'm exhausted, Sarah. Can't we skip it? She's my best friend. It's her 30th birthday. We're going." He was quiet the whole drive there, checking his phone constantly. At the party he was distracted, antsy. Every time his phone buzzed, he'd step away to check it. "Everything okay?" Emma asked me when Michael disappeared for the third time in an hour. "Yeah, just work stuff," I said automatically. But Emma knew me too well. "Sarah, is everything okay with you too?" I opened my mouth to say yes, of course everything's fine. But I couldn't. The words wouldn't come. "I don't know," I whispered. "Something's different." "He's different." Emma squeezed my hand. "Have you talked to him about it?" "Every time I try, he gets defensive or changes the subject." "Sarah, you need to trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is." That night, Michael and I drove home in silence. When we got to our bedroom, I finally said it out loud. "Are you having an affair?" He froze in the middle of taking off his tie. "What? No. Is this? Why would you even ask that?" "Because you're different. You're distant. You work late all the time. You changed your phone passcode." I changed my passcode because of work security protocols," he interrupted. "And I'm working late because I got promoted. You know this. Then why does it feel like you're pulling away from me?" He sat down on the edge of the bed, put his head in his hands. "I'm stressed, Sarah. This job is a lot. I'm sorry if I've been distracted. But I'm not cheating on you. I would never cheat on you." He looked up at me and his eyes were wet. "You're my wife. Love you. How can you even think that?" Felt terrible. Guilty. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe this was all in my head. "I'm sorry," I said, sitting next to him. "I'm sorry. Trust you. I miss you." "I miss you too," he said, pulling me close. "I'm going to do better. I promise." That night we made love for the first time in 3 weeks. And for a moment I believed everything was going to be okay. But then came that Tuesday night. The night that shattered everything. I couldn't sleep. It happened sometimes. Insomnia brought on by stress or too much coffee or no reason at all. Michael was next to me, breathing deep and even already asleep. I'd been lying there for maybe an hour, my mind wandering through work projects and grocery lists, and that nagging feeling that still wouldn't go away despite his reassurances. I turned onto my side, watching him sleep in the dim light filtering through our curtains. He looked peaceful, young almost, without the tension he carried during his waking hours now. I reached out and put my hand on his chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. That's when he spoke. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was soft, tender, intimate. The way you speak to someone you love. "Rebecca." My hand froze on his chest. My breath stopped. Rebecca," he murmured, a small smile crossing his sleeping face. The world tilted. My stomach dropped. That name. That name I'd pushed out of my mind, the woman from the photos, the woman from accounting. He said it the way he used to say my name. With affection. With love. I pulled my hand back like I'd been burned. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might wake him up. I lay there, paralyzed, as he shifted in his sleep, still smiling slightly. Then he said it again. "Love you, Rebecca." Got out of bed. I don't even remember the decision to move. One moment I was lying there, the next I was standing in our bathroom, door closed, hand over my mouth, trying not to make a sound as everything inside me shattered. "Love you, Rebecca. Love you. Rebecca. Not me." I sat down on the cold tile floor, pulling my knees to my chest. My mind was racing, spinning, trying to make sense of what I'd just heard. Maybe I'd misheard. Maybe he was having a work dream and just mentioned her name. Maybe, but no. He knew. Deep in my bones, in that place where your intuition lives, I knew. My husband was in love with someone else. I don't know how long I sat there. Long enough for my legs to go numb. Long enough for the sky outside the bathroom window to start turning gray with pre-dawn light. When I finally stood up, my face was wet with tears I didn't remember crying. I looked at myself in the mirror, pale, shocked, like I'd seen something terrible. I opened the bathroom door quietly and looked at Michael, still sleeping peacefully in our bed. Where he'd just said another woman's name. Told her he loved her. I couldn't go back in there. I went downstairs, made coffee with shaking hands, sat at our kitchen table while Cooper came and put his head on my lap, sensing something was wrong. "What do I do, Coop?" I whispered, stroking his soft ears. "What do I do?" I knew what I had to do. I had to find out the truth. All of it. When Michael came downstairs an hour later, showered and dressed for work, I was still sitting at the table. "Hey, you're up early," he said, heading for the coffee pot. "Couldn't sleep." "Yeah," I managed. My voice sounded strange even to my own ears. He kissed the top of my head like nothing was wrong, like he hadn't just destroyed our marriage in his sleep. "I have that trip to Portland today. I'll be back tomorrow night." "Portland?" "But another overnight trip." "Okay," I said. He paused, coffee cup halfway to his lips. "You okay? You seem off." I looked up at him. At this man I'd loved for 7 years. This man I'd built a life with. This man who apparently loved someone named Rebecca. I'm fine, I lied. Just tired. Okay. Well, I should get going. Traffic's going to be bad. He kissed me goodbye, a quick peck on the lips that made my skin crawl. Love you. Love you too, I said automatically, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. I watched him leave, heard his car start, listened to it fade away down our street. Then I went to his office. I'd never snooped before. Never felt the need. But whatever guilt I might have felt was gone, burned away by those 3 words. Love you, Rebecca. His laptop was locked, of course. But I knew his filing cabinet wasn't. He kept physical copies of important documents there. Tax returns, mortgage papers, insurance policies. I opened the drawers methodically, not even sure what I was looking for. Bank statements, credit card bills, anything that might show me the truth. The 3rd drawer down, underneath a folder of old tax returns, I found it. A credit card statement for a card I didn't recognize. It was in his name, but at an address I didn't know. P.O. Box. My hands trembled as I unfolded it. Charges at restaurants I'd never been to. On dates he'd told me he was working late. Hotels. In cities he'd supposedly been visiting for work. Jewelry stores. He hadn't bought me jewelry in over a year. Lingerie boutiques. I hadn't received any lingerie. The dates matched perfectly with his late nights, his overnight trips, his Tuesday and Thursday pattern. I sat on the floor of his office, surrounded by the evidence of his double life, and tried to breathe. But I needed more. I needed to be absolutely sure. I went back upstairs and grabbed his iPad from his nightstand. He barely used it anymore, preferred his phone. Maybe he'd forgotten about it. Maybe he hadn't changed the passcode. I tried it. It unlocked. I opened his email. And there it was. Everything. Laid out in message after message after message. Can't wait to see you tonight. I've missed you so much. R. Last night was incredible. Being with you feels like coming home. R. I hate that you have to go back to her. I wish you could just stay with me. Her. That was me. I was her now. The obstacle. The thing in the way. I scrolled back. Months and months of emails. The affair had started 10 months ago. 10 months. Almost a year of lies. There were photos. Them together at restaurants. Hotels. At what looked like her apartment. Cozy, intimate, them wrapped around each other on a couch. Him smiling at the camera at her, with a happiness I hadn't seen on his face in months. In one photo he was wearing the new cologne. In another, one of the new shirts. He'd bought those things for her. For his affair. I kept scrolling, some horrible compulsion driving me forward even though every new message was a knife in my heart. I told my sister about us, one email from Rebecca said. She's happy for me. Thinks I've never seemed more in love. I told her about the situation with your wife, and she said sometimes marriages just run their course. That it doesn't make you a bad person. You're just following your heart. Following his heart. To her. Another email from Michael. I feel terrible about lying to Sarah. But being with you feels so right. I've never connected with someone like this. I think you might be the one I'm supposed to be with. I ran to the bathroom and vomited. When I was done, I went back to the iPad. I had to know everything. Had to see the full extent of the betrayal. They'd been planning a future together. He was going to leave me. They talked about timelines, about how to tell me about what their life would look like after the divorce. After the divorce. Like it was inevitable. Like our marriage was already over. I just didn't know it yet. In one email thread, they discussed waiting until after my birthday to tell me. How considerate. Wouldn't want to ruin my birthday by destroying my life. That birthday was next month. I found texts too on his messaging app that synced across devices. More intimate, more immediate than the emails. Missing you, baby. Can't stop thinking about last night. You're so beautiful. I love you so much, all the words he used to say to me. Now being said to her. There was a whole text exchange about how they'd almost been caught. That day I'd tried to surprise him at work. He'd texted Rebecca immediately. Sarah's on her way here. You need to leave now. And she'd responded, oh my God, okay. I'm leaving out the back. That was close. They'd been together in his office. While I sat in a parking lot with a sandwich, worried about interrupting his meeting, I found calendar entries. Portland trip on his work calendar actually said, weekend with R on his personal calendar. Late meeting was dinner with R. Seattle visit was R's place. Every single overnight trip. Every late night. Every Tuesday and Thursday. With her. I scrolled through photos. So many photos. Them at dinner, smiling at each other across candlelight. Them in hotel rooms, tangled in sheets. Them hiking, laughing, being a couple. In one photo, she was wearing a necklace I recognized. A delicate gold chain with a small diamond pendant. I'd admired it in a jewelry store months ago. He'd said it was too expensive, that we should save our money for the house renovations. He'd bought it, just not for me. There was a video. I almost didn't click on it, but I needed to see. Needed to know the full truth. It was them in what looked like her bedroom. She was filming, smiling at the camera, then panning to Michael lying in bed next to her, shirtless, looking at her with such tenderness it made me physically ache. Say hi to future us, she laughed. Hi future US, he said, grinning. Remember this moment. Remember how happy we were, even when things were complicated. Because we're going to make it. We're going to be together officially soon. And it's going to be worth everything we went through to get there. Then he pulled her down and kissed her, and the video ended. I watched it 3 times. I don't know why. Maybe I was torturing myself. Maybe I needed it to be real, to be undeniable. I looked up Rebecca on social media. Found her easily, she wasn't private. Scrolled through her photos, her life. She was 29, 3 years younger than me. Marathoner. Loved hiking and craft beer and indie music. Worked in accounting just like Michael had said. She'd posted a photo 2 weeks ago of a latte with a heart design in the foam, captioned, "Best start to my Tuesday, smiling face with smiling ace." I checked the date against Michael's calendar. That was a day he'd told me he had an early meeting. She was pretty. Different from me. Darker, more athletic, more outdoorsy. I wondered if that's what he'd wanted all along. Someone different. Someone not me. I went back to his emails, scrolling back to the very beginning. The first message. From Michael. Hi Rebecca, welcome to the team. Looking forward to working with you. Professional. Normal. Her response. Thanks. Excited to be here. Coffee sometime to chat about the department. And then, slowly, the messages became more frequent. More personal. Lunch invitations. Drinks after work. Inside jokes. Compliments. I watched their relationship develop in real time, message by message. The slow slide from coworkers to friends to something more. The first, "I think I'm falling for you," from him came 6 weeks after she started. Her response. "I know this is complicated. You're married. But I can't help how I feel. I'm falling for you too." 6 weeks. It took 6 weeks for him to develop feelings for someone new. After 7 years with me. I found the email where she told him she loved him for the first time. His response. "I love you too. God, I love you too. I never thought I'd feel this way again. You make me feel alive. Again. Like what we had was dead. Had been dead. Maybe it had been. Maybe I'd just been too blind to see it. I sat there on our bedroom floor, surrounded by the wreckage of my marriage. His iPad in my hand showing me his secret life, his secret love. It was 11 a.m. He'd be in Portland by now. Which probably meant he was with her. I opened the messaging app and scrolled to their most recent texts from this morning. From him, sent at 8:47 a.m. On my way, baby. Can't wait to see you. Missed you so much. From her at 8:53 a.m. Hurry. I have the whole day planned for us. Starting with not leaving this bed for at least a few hours, smirking face from him. Perfect. Told Sarah I'd be back tomorrow night. We have until then. Told Sarah. Not told my wife. Just Sarah. Like I was just some person. Some obligation. Not the woman he'd promised forever to. I took screenshots of everything. The emails. The texts. Photos. The credit card statements. Every piece of evidence of his betrayal. I sent them all to my own email. Then I called Emma. Sarah. What's wrong? It's the middle of a workday. He's cheating on me, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Michael. He's having an affair. For 10 months. With a woman from work named Rebecca. Silence. Then. Oh my God. Sarah, are you sure? I'm looking at months of emails and texts right now. Photos of them together. Hotel receipts. He told her he loves her. He said my name wrong in his sleep last night and said hers instead. Her name, Emma. He said her name in our bed. Oh, Sarah. Emma's voice cracked. Where is he now? He told me he's in Portland for work. But he's actually with her. I saw the messages. They're spending the next 24 hours together. Sarah, I'm coming over. Don't move. I'm leaving work right now. No, I'm coming over, she repeated firmly. You shouldn't be alone right now. She hung up before I could argue. I sat there, still scrolling through the evidence of my husband's betrayal, and felt strangely numb. The initial shock had worn off, leaving behind something cold and hollow. My marriage was over. Had been over for 10 months, apparently. I'd just been too stupid to see it. Emma arrived 30 minutes later, letting herself in with her emergency key. She found me still sitting on the bedroom floor. His iPad next to me. Sarah, she breathed, kneeling down beside me. I looked at her, and something in her expression, the pity, the concern, the sadness, broke through my numbness. I started crying. Not the silent tears from earlier, but deep, body-shaking sobs. She held me while I fell apart on the floor of the bedroom I'd shared with my husband. Her bedroom. Except it wasn't ours anymore. It was the place where he'd dreamed about another woman. When I finally stopped crying, my voice hoarse and my eyes swollen, Emma asked, "Can I see?" I handed her the iPad without a word. I watched her face as she scrolled through the messages, the emails, the photos. Watched her expression harden, her jaw clench. "That fucking bastard," she finally said. "That absolute piece of shit." Somehow, hearing her say it out loud, hearing her anger on my behalf, made it more real. "What do I do?" I whispered. Emma set down the iPad and took my hands. "First, we document everything. You said you sent it to yourself." He nodded. "Good. Now we print it out. All of it. We make a timeline. We protect you." "Protect me from what?" "From him trying to gaslight you. From him trying to manipulate the narrative. Sarah, you have proof. Concrete, undeniable proof. We're not letting him talk his way out of this." She was right. I knew she was right. But part of me still couldn't believe this was happening. This was my life. This was my marriage. He's supposed to come home tomorrow night, I said. What do I do when he walks in? We'll figure that out. But first let's get you off this floor. When was the last time you ate? I couldn't remember. Emma pulled me up and guided me downstairs. She made me toast and tea, sat with me at the kitchen table while Cooper pressed against my legs. Do you think he ever really loved me? I asked quietly. Sarah, I mean it. Was our whole relationship a lie? Was I just... what? A placeholder until someone better came along? You were not a placeholder, Emma said fiercely. He married you. He built a life with you. Whatever happened with this woman, whatever mistakes he made, that doesn't erase what you had before. But what did we have? Because apparently, for the last 10 months, while I thought we were solid, while I thought we were just going through a rough patch with his new job, he was building an entire separate life with someone else. Emma had no answer for that. My phone rang. Michael's name flashed on the screen. Don't answer it, Emma advised. But I did. I don't know why. Maybe because I wanted to hear him lie to me again, now that I knew the truth. Maybe because some part of me still hoped this was all a mistake. Hey babe. His voice came through, casual, normal. How's your day going? How's my day going? I almost laughed. It's fine, I managed. How's Portland? Good, good. Meetings are productive. Hey, I might be back earlier than I thought. Maybe around dinner time tomorrow instead of late. That work for you? Coming home early from his weekend with his mistress. How considerate. Sure, I said, my voice flat. Sarah, you okay? You sound weird. I'm fine. Just busy with work. Okay. Well, I'll let you go. Love you. There it was. That phrase. The one he'd said to her this morning in his texts. The one he'd said to her in his sleep. The one he was saying to me now so easily, so automatically. Yeah, I said. You too. I hung up before he could say anything else. I can't do this, I told Emma, my hands shaking. I can't sit here for another 24 hours knowing what I know. I can't sleep in that bed. I can't. Then don't, Emma said. Pack a bag. Come stay with me. But this is my house. Why should I leave? You shouldn't have to. But maybe some distance right now would help. Give you space to think, to process, to figure out what you want to do. What I wanted to do. What did I want to do? I wanted to go back to yesterday when I was still ignorant. When I still believed my husband loved me. When I still had a marriage. But that wasn't an option. I need to know more, I said suddenly. I need to know where she lives. Who she is. Everything. Sarah. No, I need to see. I need to see where he goes when he's supposedly working late. I need to see her apartment, her life, the place he'd rather be than here with me. Emma looked worried. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't care if it's a good idea. I need to know. I pulled up Rebecca's Facebook again, scrolled through until I found a post with a location tag. Her apartment complex. It was 20 minutes away. I'm going, I said, standing up. Then I'm coming with you, Emma said firmly. We got in my car, Emma driving because my hands were still shaking too much. The whole drive I kept thinking about turning around. This was crazy. This was stalker behavior. But I needed to see. Needed to make it real. The apartment complex was nice. New construction, expensive. I wondered if Michael helped pay for it. With our money. My money too, from our joint account. Which building? Emma asked. I checked the background of one of Rebecca's photos. Matched it to building C. We parked across the street. Sat there. Waiting for what I didn't know. And then I saw it. Michael's car. Parked in a spot marked, reserved for 3C residents. Oh my God, I breathed. He's here. He's here right now. Emma grabbed my hand. Sarah, we should go. But I couldn't move. I sat there, staring at my husband's car parked outside his mistress's apartment building, and felt my heart break all over again. Because seeing his car here made it so much more real than the emails or texts or photos. This was physical proof. He was here with her in her apartment, while he'd told me he was in Portland for work. He told me he was in Portland, I said aloud, my voice strange and disconnected. I know. He's been doing this for 10 months. I know. 10 months of lies. 10 months of coming home to me and kissing me and sleeping next to me after being with her. Emma squeezed my hand tighter. I want to go up there, I said. Sarah, no. I want to knock on that door. I want to see his face when he realizes I know. Not like this. Not when you're emotional and he can manipulate the situation. You do this on your terms, with evidence, with a plan. She was right. I knew she was right. But God, I wanted to storm up those stairs and blow up his secret life the way he'd blown up mine. Instead, I took a photo of his car with the building in the background. More evidence. Let's go, Emma said gently. Come stay with me. Get some rest. Tomorrow when he gets home you confront him with everything. But not tonight. I nodded, unable to speak around the lump in my throat. As we drove away, I looked back at building C1 last time. Somewhere in there my husband was with another woman. In her apartment. In her bed. Living the life he'd been hiding from me for 10 months. I didn't sleep that night at Emma's. How could I? I lay in her guest room, staring at the ceiling, my mind spinning through every moment of the past 10 months, seeing them all differently now. Every time he'd said he loved me, a lie. Every time he'd kissed me goodbye, a betrayal. Every time he'd come home late. He'd been with her. Our anniversary 3 months ago. We'd gone to dinner, exchanged gifts. He'd given me earrings, told me he couldn't imagine his life without me. I checked the credit card statement I'd photographed. 2 days before our anniversary, he'd bought a bracelet at the same jewelry store. For her. Our anniversary was a performance. A show he put on before returning to his real relationship. I ran to Emma's bathroom and threw up again. The next afternoon Emma helped me prepare. We printed out the worst of the evidence. A small selection, enough to prove the affair but not so much that he could claim I was being hysterical or obsessive. Remember, Emma coached me, stay calm. Don't let him manipulate you or turn this around on you. You are not the one who did something wrong. But I felt wrong. Stupid for not seeing it sooner. Stupid for believing him. Stupid for trusting him when my gut had been screaming that something was off. Text me the moment he gets home, Emma said as I left. I'll be right here if you need me. I drove home to the house we'd bought together. The house where we were supposed to raise our future children. The house that now felt like a prison of lies. Michael's text came at 6:47 p.m. Just pulled into the driveway. Making spaghetti for dinner. Spaghetti. Like this was a normal evening. Like he hadn't spent the last 24 hours with his mistress. I didn't respond. I heard his key in the lock. Heard Cooper bark excitedly. Heard Michael's voice greeting the dog. Hey buddy. Did you miss me? Then he appeared in the living room doorway, overnight bag in hand, smiling at me. Hey babe, I'm home. How was your? He stopped. I was sitting on the couch, the printed emails and photos spread out on the coffee table in front of me. His face went white. Sarah. Don't, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Don't say my name. Don't say anything except the truth. He set down his bag slowly. What is that? You know what it is, Michael. He looked at the evidence, and I watched him calculate. Saw the moment he realized he couldn't talk his way out of this. How long have you known? He asked quietly. Since Wednesday morning. When you said her name in your sleep. He closed his eyes. Sarah, how long? I interrupted. How long have you been fucking her? He flinched at the crude word. 10 months. 10 months, I repeated. Were you ever going to tell me? Or were you just going to keep lying to me while you built a life with her? It's not, it's more complicated than that. No, I said, standing up. No, it's actually very simple. You cheated on me. For 10 months. You lied to me every single day. You told her you loved her. You made plans to leave me. You bought her jewelry with our money. You spent our anniversary with her in your mind. How is any of that complicated? I didn't mean for this to happen. Oh, fuck you, Michael. You didn't mean for this to happen. You accidentally fell into a 10-month affair. You accidentally deleted messages and changed your passcode and bought a secret credit card and lied about work trips. I know I fucked up, he said, his voice rising. I know, okay? I know I hurt you. But I do love you, Sarah. I never stopped loving you. You told her you loved her this morning. I saw the text. You told her you couldn't wait to see her, that you missed her. While I sat here, your wife, believing your lies. He ran his hands through his hair. Can we sit down and talk about this? Talk about what? How you destroyed our marriage. How you made me feel crazy for months when my gut was telling me something was wrong. How you let me trust you while you betrayed me every single day. Sarah, please. Do you love her? I asked, my voice breaking despite my best efforts. He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. Do. Love. Her. I repeated, each word sharp and distinct. Yes, he admitted quietly. But I love you too. It's not black and white. Relationships are complicated. People change. Needs change. So our marriage wasn't enough for you. I wasn't enough for you. That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying, Michael? Because from where I'm standing, you met someone new and exciting and decided that our 7 years together didn't matter anymore. They do matter. Sarah, everything we've built together matters. Then why did you throw it away? I was crying now, angry tears streaming down my face. Why did you choose her? I didn't choose. Yes, you did. Every time you canceled our plans to see her. Every time you lied about working late. Every time you fucked her and then came home and kissed me. You chose her. Over and over and over again. He was crying too now. I'm so sorry. God, Sarah, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, I said flatly. You destroyed me. You destroyed us. 10 months, Michael. 10 months of lying to my face. Making me doubt myself. Making me feel like I was going crazy. What do you want me to say? He asked desperately. Tell me what to say to fix this. There's nothing you can say. There's no fixing this. So that's it. You're just giving up. I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. I'm giving up. You gave up 10 months ago when you started fucking someone else. Don't you dare put this on me. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, do you want me to end it with her? I don't give a shit what you do with her. I want you to get the fuck out of my house. Sarah, get out. I screamed. Get out of my house. Go be with Rebecca since that's clearly where you want to be anyway. This is my house too. I don't care. I don't want you here. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to breathe the same air as you. He started toward me, hands outstretched. Sarah, please, let's just talk. Don't touch me, I hissed, stepping back. Don't ever fucking touch me again. The look on his face, hurt, shocked, devastated, almost made me feel sorry for him. Almost. I'll pack some things, he said quietly. I'll stay at a hotel. Stay with her, I shot back. I'm sure she'll be thrilled. He went upstairs. I heard drawers opening, the closet door, the sound of him packing a bag. Cooper whined and looked between the stairs and me, confused by the tension. Michael came back down 15 minutes later, a duffel bag over his shoulder. Sarah, don't, I cut him off. Just leave. We'll figure out the logistics later. Lawyers and divorce papers and splitting up our lives. But right now, just get the fuck out. He nodded slowly, then walked to the door. He paused with his hand on the knob, looked back at me one last time. I really am sorry, he said softly. So am I replied. I'm sorry I ever met you. I'm sorry I wasted 7 years of my life on you. I'm sorry I believed you loved me. He opened his mouth like he wanted to say something else, but I turned away. I heard the door open, close. Heard his car start, pull out of the driveway. And then he was gone. I stood in our living room, my living room now, and felt the weight of the silence. Cooper came over, pressed against my legs, and I sank down to the floor, buried my face in his fur and sobbed. The next few weeks were a blur of pain and practicalities. I called out of work for 3 days. My boss, a woman who'd been through her own divorce, didn't ask questions. Take the time you need, she said simply. I spent those days alternating between crying, sleeping, and staring at walls. Emma came over every evening after work, bringing food I couldn't eat and comfort I couldn't fully accept. You need to eat, she'd say, pushing a plate toward me. I'm not hungry. Sarah, you've lost weight you can't afford to lose. Please. Just a few bites. I'd force down some food to make her happy, but it all tasted like cardboard. Everything felt numb, colorless. Like the world had lost its vibrancy when my marriage ended. Michael texted constantly for the first few days. Can we talk? Please. I miss you. I made a terrible mistake. I ended things with Rebecca. It's over. Can we try to work this out? That last one almost made me laugh. He ended it with her. After I caught him. After I threw him out. Now he wanted to work it out. I didn't respond to any of his messages. On day 4, Emma sat me down. Okay, here's the deal. You have some decisions to make, and I know you're not ready. But you need to start thinking about them. Decisions about what? About your marriage. Do you want to try to save it? Do you want a divorce? Do you want a separation to figure things out? He cheated on me for 10 months, Emma. What's there to figure out? I know. And I'm not telling you what to do. But you need to be intentional about this. You need to decide what you want, not just react to what happened. What did I want? I'd been asking myself that question for days. Part of me wanted to punish him. To make him hurt the way he'd hurt me. To destroy his life the way he'd destroyed mine. Part of me wanted to pretend this never happened. To go back to our life before. To unknow what I now knew. Part of me wanted to understand. Why? Why wasn't I enough? What did she have that I didn't? But the biggest part of me just wanted to stop hurting. To wake up one morning without this crushing weight on my chest. To not feel like I was drowning every time I thought about him with her. I can't stay married to him, I said finally. I can't. Every time I look at him, I'll see her. I'll see all the lies. I'll wonder if he's really where he says he is. If he's really doing what he claims. I'll never trust him again. Emma nodded. Okay. So divorce. The word felt heavy. Final. Divorce. I need a lawyer, I said. I know someone. She's good. She'll protect you. That's how I found myself, a week after discovering the affair, sitting in a lawyer's office explaining my situation to a sharp-eyed woman named Patricia. And you have documentation of the affair? Patricia asked, taking notes. Emails, texts, photos, credit card statements. All of it. Good. That'll help. California is a no-fault state, so the affair doesn't affect the divorce proceedings legally, but it helps establish a pattern of dishonesty and can work in your favor regarding asset division and any disputes. Asset division. A house. Our savings. Our shared life being divided up like property. The house is in both our names, Patricia continued. Have you thought about whether you want to keep it or sell it? I hadn't thought about it. But hearing the question, I realized I didn't want to stay there. That house held too many memories, too much pain. Sell it, I said. Over the next few weeks, Patricia guided me through the process. Filing papers. Separating finances. Dividing belongings. Michael came by one Saturday to pick up more of his things. I made sure Emma was there with me. He looked terrible. Unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, like he hadn't been sleeping. Good, some vindictive part of me thought. How are you? He asked when he arrived. I stared at him. How do you think I am, Michael? Right. Stupid question. He rubbed his face. Look, I got the divorce papers. I'm not going to fight anything. You want the house sold, we'll sell it. You want to split everything 50-50, that's fine. I want you to know I'm not going to make this harder than it already is. How noble of you, I said coldly. He flinched. Sarah, I know I don't deserve it, but can we talk? Really talk? What's there to talk about? I want to explain. I want you to understand. Understand what? That you fell out of love with me. That I wasn't enough for you. That you found someone better. It's not about you not being enough. You were. You are an amazing woman. What happened with Rebecca, it wasn't because you did anything wrong. Then why? I demanded. Why did you do it? He was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. First it was just attention. She made me feel seen in a way I hadn't felt in a while. Made me feel excited, alive. And then it turned into more. And by the time I realized how deep I was, how much I was destroying, I didn't know how to stop. You could have just told me the truth. I know. You could have ended our marriage with some dignity instead of lying to me for 10 months. I know. Do you love her? I asked again, needing to hear it one more time. I did, he said carefully. But I ended it. When you kicked me out, I told her we couldn't see each other anymore. Because you got caught. Not because you wanted to end it. He couldn't deny that. Did you ever really love me, Michael? Or was our whole marriage just convenient until someone better came along? I loved you, he said, his voice breaking. I still love you. I know you don't believe me, but Sarah, I never stopped loving you. You have a really fucked up way of showing love. I know. I know I destroyed everything. I know I hurt you in ways I can never take back. And I have to live with that. But Sarah, I am sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. For the first time since this started, I saw genuine remorse in his face. Real pain at what he'd done. It didn't make me feel better. You need to go, I said quietly. He nodded, picked up the boxes he'd packed and left. After he was gone, I sat down on the couch and felt empty. Not angry. Not sad. Just hollow. You okay? Emma asked carefully. I don't know what I am. That's okay. You don't have to know. A few weeks later I ran into Rebecca. I'd been avoiding her obvious haunts, the coffee shops and restaurants I'd seen in their photos together. But apparently the universe had other plans. I was at the grocery store, mindlessly pushing a cart through the produce section, when I saw her. She was examining avocados, her dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, wearing workout clothes. My stomach dropped. My first instinct was to turn around, to run, to avoid this confrontation. But then I thought, no. I'm not the one who should feel ashamed. I'm not the one who did something wrong. I walked right up to her. "Rebecca," I said. She looked up, and I watched the recognition and panic flash across her face. "Sarah," she breathed. "You know who I am." "Yes." We stood there in the middle of the produce section, shoppers moving around us, both of us frozen. "I should probably say I'm sorry," she said finally, quietly. "Yeah, you probably should. I am sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I know that probably means nothing, but I am sorry. Did you know about me? When you started sleeping with my husband, did you know he was married?" "Yes," she admitted. "I knew. And you didn't care." I told myself that if your marriage was strong, he wouldn't have been available. That if you two were solid, he wouldn't have looked at me twice. I know that's not an excuse. I know it's fucked up. But that's what I told myself. I wanted to hit her, or scream at her, or break down crying. Instead, I just felt tired. "My marriage was strong," I said quietly. "Until he met you. We were happy. We were planning a future. And then you came along and he decided that wasn't enough anymore. He said you two were having problems." "Of course he did," I interrupted. "That's what cheaters say to justify their choices. But we weren't having problems. He created problems by lying to me for 10 months. By building a secret life with you." She looked down at the avocados in her hands. "For what it's worth, he ended things with me. Said he needed to try to fix his marriage. I know. I'm divorcing him anyway." She looked up surprised. "But he ended it. Because he got caught. Not because he wanted to. If I hadn't found out, he'd probably still be with both of us. Or he'd have left me for you eventually, like you two were planning. We weren't. Don't lie to me," I said sharply. "I saw the emails. The plans you were making. The timeline for telling me. I know everything." She looked like she might cry. "I really am sorry." "Me too," I said. "I'm sorry you're the kind of person who sleeps with married men. I'm sorry my husband is the kind of person who cheats on his wife. I'm sorry any of this happened." I walked away, leaving her standing there with her avocados and her guilt. I sat in my car in the parking lot for 20 minutes, shaking before I could drive home. Confronting her hadn't given me the satisfaction I'd hoped for. Just made everything feel more real, more final. This wasn't a bad dream I'd wake up from. This was my life now. Emma asked me later if I regretted confronting Rebecca. "No," I said. "I needed to see her. Needed to make her real instead of just a name and some photos. Needed to look her in the eye and let her know that I know what she did. And she's just a person. Not a villain, not a homewrecker. Just a normal person who made shitty choices. Just like Michael." That realization hurt almost as much as the affair itself. Because it meant this wasn't some grand passion, some once-in-a-lifetime love story. It was just two people being selfish and weak. And my marriage was collateral damage. 3 months after discovering the affair, I moved out of the house. We'd listed it for sale, and rather than wait for it to sell, I found an apartment across town. A 1-bedroom with hardwood floors and big windows. Small but mine. Emma helped me move. So did a few other friends, including my older brother who flew in from Boston. "You doing okay, sis?" he asked while we were packing boxes in the kitchen. "Yeah," I said. "I think I am." And surprisingly, it wasn't entirely a lie. The divorce was finalized 6 months after I found those emails. 6 months of lawyers and paperwork and dividing up a life we'd built together. We sold the house, split the proceeds, divided our savings and retirement accounts. I kept Cooper. Michael didn't even fight me on that. Knew the dog was more mine than his. The process was civil, businesslike. Neither of us fought over anything. There was nothing left to fight for. I heard through mutual friends that Michael and Rebecca tried to make it work for a while after the divorce. But their relationship, built on lies and betrayal, crumbled under the weight of reality. They broke up about 8 months after my divorce was finalized. I didn't feel vindicated by that news. Just tired of the whole thing. In the year after the divorce, I did a lot of healing. Therapy helped. My therapist, Dr. Chen, helped me work through the betrayal, the trust issues, the sense of worthlessness that had crept in. "You are not less valuable because someone chose to betray you," she told me in one session. "His cheating was about his character, not your worth." Took a long time to believe that. To stop blaming myself. To stop wondering what I could have done differently. I threw myself into my work, took on bigger projects at the design firm. My boss promoted me to senior designer, put me in charge of major campaigns. I reconnected with friends I'd neglected during the marriage. Took up hobbies I'd abandoned. Started running again, something I'd loved in college but stopped doing somewhere along the way. Dated. Not seriously at first, just casual dinners and drinks. Testing the waters, seeing if I could still connect with someone new. It was terrifying at first. Trusting again. Being vulnerable again. But slowly, carefully, I started to open up. I met David at a friend's wedding 2 years after the divorce. He was kind, patient, funny. A middle school teacher with a genuine love for kids and terrible dad jokes. Full disclosure, I told him on our 3rd date. "I'm divorced. My ex-husband had an affair. I have trust issues and I'm probably going to be paranoid and difficult for a while." He'd smiled. "Full disclosure, I'm divorced too. My ex-wife left me for her personal trainer. So we can be paranoid and difficult together." We took things slow. Really slow. I made him wait 6 months before I'd even consider making things official. He never pushed, never pressured, just showed up consistently and patiently. Now, 3 years after my divorce, David and I are talking about moving in together. About building a life. About marriage maybe someday. I never thought I'd want to get married again. Never thought I'd be able to trust someone that much. But David isn't Michael. He's proven day after day that he's reliable, honest, present. When he says he's working late, his story checks out. When he says he's at the gym, that's where he is. More importantly, I'm not the person I was in my marriage. I'm stronger now. More aware. I trust my gut. And if something ever feels off, I address it immediately instead of talking myself out of my concerns. The house sold for a good price. I took my half and bought a small townhouse in a neighborhood I love. Painted it in colors Michael would have hated. Decorated it entirely to my own taste. Cooper and I have a good life here. Better than I expected. I don't forgive Michael. I probably never will. But I don't hate him anymore either. I don't think about him much at all, honestly. He's just someone I used to know. Someone I used to love. Last I heard, he's dating again. Someone new. I hope for her sake, he learned something from what he did to me. But that's not my problem anymore. Sometimes late at night when I can't sleep, I think about that moment. The moment he said her name in his sleep. That instant when my entire world shattered. And I realize now that it wasn't the moment my life ended. It was the moment my new life began. Because that betrayal, as devastating as it was, freed me from a marriage that was built on lies. From a man who wasn't capable of being the partner I deserved. The pain of that discovery, the agony of those months that followed, they forged me into someone stronger. Someone who knows her worth. Someone who won't accept less than she deserves. If you're reading this or if you're watching this video, and you're going through something similar, I want you to know, you will survive this. I know it doesn't feel like it. I know you feel like your life is over, like you'll never be happy again, like the pain will never stop. But it will. Not immediately. Not easily. But gradually, day by day, the pain will fade. The trust will rebuild. The joy will return. You will laugh again. You will love again. You will be okay. When I found those emails, when I heard him say her name in his sleep, I thought that was the end of my story. The end of my chance at happiness. But it wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. A painful, devastating beginning, but a beginning nonetheless. I'm not grateful for what Michael did. I wouldn't wish that pain on anyone. But I am grateful for who I became because of it. For the strength I discovered. For the life I built from the ashes of my marriage. To anyone betrayed by someone they loved, your pain is valid. Your anger is justified. Your grief is real. But so is your future. So is your worth. So is your capacity to heal and grow and find happiness again. Don't let someone else's betrayal define you. Don't let their choices diminish your value. Don't let the pain convince you that you're not worthy of real love. You are. And one day, you'll wake up and realize that the person who broke your heart no longer has power over you. That the pain has become a distant memory. That you've built something beautiful from the ruins they left behind. That day will come. Promise. 3 years ago, I woke up at 2:47 a.m. to my husband saying another woman's name. That moment destroyed everything I thought I knew about my life. But it also set me free. And now, looking back from where I stand today, happy, healthy, loved, and whole, I realize that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you can become the catalyst for the best thing that ever happened to you. I am not the woman I was in that marriage. I am better, stronger, more authentically myself. And if Michael could see me now, if he could see the life I've built, the love I've found, the happiness I've created, well, I hope he realizes what he lost. But more than that, I hope anyone reading this realizes what they can gain. Not from betrayal itself, but from surviving it. From choosing themselves. From refusing to let someone else's actions determine their worth. You are more than your worst moment. You are more than your deepest pain. You are a survivor, a warrior, a person capable of incredible strength and resilience. And your story, the next chapter of your story, is waiting to be written. Make it a good one. You deserve that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more stories like this.